All right, it's chip of the day. We have an ADS1254. This is a 24-bit A to D converter. Wow, low power, 24 bits. 20-bit effective resolution. So what's that mean? It's like they say it's a 24-bit, and then they say, hey, you can get 20 out of it. Yeah, it does 24, but yeah, it works good to 20. Anyway, plus or minus 2.5 volts input range. Yeah, current consumption 158 microamps. Wow. Analog supplies, blah, 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 blah. Now, the weird thing about this chip is its analog goes to 5 volts, but its digital only goes to 3.6. So that's going to be difficult to kind of handle in a system. All right, so here's what we got. Zoom in a little bit? Yeah, a little bit. There's a differential input to a buffer, and then it compares it to a reference. So this is just, it's labeled funny, but this is just plus and minus, and this is just plus and minus. So you have a plus and minus reference, and it compares these two things. Then it puts it into a filter, creates a number, and shifts it out with serial interface. So it's kind of a funny architecture for the converter. All right, so it is a 10-pin device. That's a little unusual. So we have ground, and then we have a VDD for analog and a VDD for digital. Okay, so this is the 3.6, the 5.5. And then we have a clock, which is a master clock. This thing needs a clock to make it work, okay? And so you have to supply it a clock. And then you also have to supply it a serial clock to shift the data out, okay? So this clock just runs all the time, and it makes the part work. And if you want to shift the data out, then you supply a clock, and then it gives you data out. And then this is the plus and minus stuff over here. Okay, so it's kind of a strange beast. So what kind of clock do we need to give it? Well, 2.4576 megahertz is what it wants. All right, I suppose it'll work with other things too, but that's what it's calling out. Lots of weird graphs and stuff. I'm not an expert on A to Ds. Here's another block diagram. Looks the same. All right. What else can we get out of it here? Blah, 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 blah. Lots of good stuff for analog. Okay, so this is the way it's going to work. Okay, it's going to have some data, and then you need to clock the data out. So you give it a clock, and it gives you bit 23. Then you give it another clock, it gives you bit 22. And 24 bits, it shifts all that data out, okay? So we need to do a couple things, and it looks like we have to go to Arduino land to do all of this. Now that weird thing about the 3.6 and a 5.5, this is how they handle it in this situation. They say, well, you know, the digital stuff kind of draws some current, so why don't you just go ahead and use the 5 volt, but divide it down with a resistor, okay? So you put this resistor in here, and it divides it down to the whatever you end up with after that division. They do a little calculation here, and they say 3.5 volts to minus 3 volts at 5 microamps, you need about a 400K resistor. So I put in a 390K resistor in mine. So that's what I've got there. But I'm doing this weird thing. And then this data, remember, it's 3.5 volt output. So you need to level shift it up to 5 volt logic, okay? Gosh, this thing's getting more and more complicated to use. You kind of need a board for this thing. So let's go ahead and see what I did. Okay, I'm using my favorite part. I'm using my ATtiny 3224. So it's a 5 volt part, and it's a 20 megahertz internal clock. And so I'm going to use one of the internal timers. I'm going to use timer B. It's got A, B, and C, I think. We're going to use timer B. Timer A is being used for the I2C, so I can't touch that one right now. Let's put my ground lead back on here. There we go. All right, so I need to generate a 2.4576 megahertz clock. Okay, so I've got some software in there to do that. It does a divide by 7. Okay, it takes the 20 megahertz and divides it by 7 and then sends it out on a pin. Okay, and so we're going to send it out on this pin here, and that goes our 2.5 megahertz clock goes into here. Then I'm going to supply the 24 cycle bits to shift the data out. Okay, anyway, it's all in here, and then I've got this little divider here, and I can turn this knob and I can change the voltage input to the, it's just a resistor divider. I can change the input to the A to D. All right, let's take a look at this on a scope. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna look at is this little window here, okay? And we will zoom way out here. You can see that, let's do a single shot here. You can see that it's going wacka, wacka, wacka. So this is the 2.5 megahertz clock that I generate, okay? And then let's zoom back so we can see the bits and stuff. There we go. All right, so I have set up right here a frequency counter on that channel, and it's giving me 2.499. Let's see here, here's the mean, 2.497. So that's what I'm going to input to the thing, all right? So that makes it go. And then trace, the blue trace over here, okay, that is my resistor divider. So you can see that it goes up and down as I turn. There's 1 volt, 2 volts, 3 volts, right? So I can change my input there, all right? And then over here, I've got a couple things going on. First of all, I've got the clock, the S clock, that's the yellow trace. Why does our green trace look funny? Something happened to our green trace here.
Did it work?
No.
Did it work?
No.
Did it work?
No.
Nothing's working!
Wait, SpongeBob! We're not cavemen! We have technology!
It didn't work.
Oh my gosh, this is super, super, super frustrating. So I worked on this circuit all day yesterday, all day, trying to get the software to work, because I wanted to decode the 24 bits and then see what kind of resolution I could get out of it and stuff like that. And I had nothing but problems with clocking this thing out. And it might have just, in the end, it might have just been due to that I didn't have the 5-volt conversion in there. Maybe I needed to add the 5-volt conversion. But I was getting data back, and I don't know. It just seemed as though it was a software issue with the part. And I used ChatGPT, I used Gemini, I went round and round and round. It took me a long time to figure out how to just run the timer to get the 2.5 megahertz clock. So I did get that working. At least I accomplished that. And I got to a point where I could see all 24 bits. And as I changed the input up and down, I saw the bit pattern change. So the most significant bit was the slowest. Everything was working perfectly except the software. And I'm not a software guy, and I just didn't care enough about a chip of the day to spend 2 days on a stupid little project that I'm not going to use. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to have a great demonstration. And the demonstration looked like this, okay? You're going to have to just imagine it, okay? I hate this scope's lag. Okay. So you get the 24 bits, and then this is the data, and you would see data. You would see the green trace data, and as I changed the potentiometer, the data would change. I would have fewer and fewer and fewer most significant ditch, or more and more and more, depending on what voltage I had set. And it was a perfect demonstration. It was perfect, except, so this morning, I got it all set up. It's working fine in the office, okay? Everything's fine. I have it on a scope. Everything is fine. Everything is perfect. I bring it out to the garage. I hook it up. I hook it up with this nice new scope. Everything looks perfect. I get it all ready to go. I turn the camera on, and it stopped working. It stopped working. So I don't know. Crack it up to, okay, maybe there is such thing as static electricity. Maybe it did die. Or maybe a lead got shorted when I plugged in the scope probes. Or maybe the part was ready to die because I overvoltaged the inputters. I don't know. Anyway, it's not working now, and it would have been a really, really nice demo. So anyway, you got half of the demo, I'd say. You got half of the demo and all of the pain that you have to go to use this part. Anyway, let's call it a wrap. All right, well, that was supposed to be chip of the day. It was an ADS1254. Yeah, it's kind of a weird part. I mean, this is really nice, 24 bits. Let's see, what does the box say for how much this thing cost? The 124. Yes, it's only a $3 part. So, yeah, it's slow, though. It does take about 66 milliseconds for it to do a conversion, so it's a very slow part. But it is low power. And 24 bits and everything like that. But I guess they're fragile too.